Hi there, my name is John Slayer and I'm here on Roatan Island in Honduras. And today I'm just going to randomly jump off the dock over here and take a look around for an invasive species that has been plaguing the Caribbean. If it's anywhere near as prolific as they say it is, then I shouldn't have any difficulty in finding it. It didn't take long to find what I was looking for, the lionfish. These colourful fish are a welcome sight for divers in the Indo-Pacific, where they belong. I've seen and appreciated them in the Red Sea, Philippines, Australia, South Africa, Mauritius and Madagascar, but I'd never seen them as abundant as they are here on Roatan, a place they don't belong. They seem to be everywhere. Man accidentally introduced these fish to the Caribbean in the early 90s and their population has exploded. In their native waters they breed once a year, but here, in the Caribbean, they have been breeding monthly. Their eggs drift in ocean currents, so they have spread quickly, and without any natural predators in the Atlantic, their numbers have skyrocketed. They are voracious predators and eat invertebrates, crustaceans, and fish, decimating native marine life on the reefs. I found them in the shallows, all over the reefs down to scuba depth, and even couldn't get away from them when I went down in a submarine. That's right, it's a submarine. We're going down to what depth?
About 200 meters.
200 meters. So this is Carl, and he's going to be our pilot for the day. Pilot, is that the right word for a sub?
That is.
Excellent. Down to 200 meters. How long is that going to take us?
It will be about an hour and a half.
Let's go and see what we see. And we're in. Hey, Gracia.
Hello.
You're joining us down underwater today.
Yes, I'm very excited to go all the way down to 600 feet. And see
First time in a submarine?
Yes, it's my first time.
Excellent.
I'm a bit nervous, but I know it'll be fine.
Yeah, I think we'll be alright. So this is our world for the next hour and a half. That's the routine. This is me over here. Come through the middle, and there we go, underwater. That's the way to see a reef, isn't it?
Absolutely perfect day.
Isn't it just? It's gorgeous conditions down here.
Yeah. Water's clear.
Yes.
And there we go under.
Brilliant.
So this last little bit of air that you heard bubbling out, that's all the air that would take us to be neutrally or positively buoyant.
Fantastic. Suddenly the light starts turning blue.
Yeah.
There's a boat buzzing by. Temperature gauge right next to us. Officially underwater. Rather blue light. What do you think of that?
I think it looks it's a little bit scary, but very exciting.
There we go. And we are past 200 feet. This is deeper than I've ever been before.
This is creepy.
It's all getting a bit dark now, isn't it?
Yes.
That's a hermit crab on there. Been on there for a long time. Oh, there's a big lionfish.
So even 200 meters down we're seeing lionfish. What do lionfish eat down here?
There's a whole school of little fish that live in here. Or used to.
Yeah, until the lionfish arrived. Yeah, there's those baby fish, eh? So the lionfish are eating juvenile fish all the way down here as well, eh?
Yeah.
For the small reef fish and animals, there is no escaping this invader. I met up with Nick Bach, an executive director of Roatan Marine Park, who explained to me how they were trying to manage this threat to their reefs.
After the first sighting with the lionfish, we understood that we had to be proactive in controlling their numbers. So rather than just trying to get one or two people going down there and spearing them, which would be myself or someone else, that perfect tool of the trade. The understanding was we need to actually get more people from the community, especially the diving community, actually going out there and actively hunting them. So we're given permission from the fisheries department called Dia Pesca here in Honduras, and they permitted us to issue special licenses solely to be basically hunting lionfish. Spear guns and pole spears, Hawaiian slings, they're all illegal within the whole of the Bay Islands. So you can't really catch lionfish with a net. You can, but it's not very fast and it's not very effective. The understanding is we issue licenses and pole spears predominantly to dive masters and instructors. But there are certain people around the island who snorkel, maybe in secluded areas. We need to get more people out there killing them.
I headed out with Nick to see how effective this technique for removing lionfish is. With their venomous spines and conspicuous colouring, these fish rely on display to ward off predators. So when threatened, they just spread their fins rather than swimming away. This makes for easy targeting with a hand spear, although it isn't as easy as it looks. I gave it a try and missed 9 out of 10 times, but then with all the lionfish over here, Nick had a lot more practice than me. But even as easy as spearing them is, divers and snorkelers only spend a small amount of time in the water and only in a limited area. What happens to the rest of the reef? In their native waters, the Indian and Pacific Oceans, big groupers and sharks keep their numbers in check. But here in the Caribbean, the big predators don't really know what the lionfish is.
Invasive species, it's basically not known, it's not natural for them to be here, so the understanding these fish don't really recognize them as a food, don't really know what they are. So even though they're not naturally from around here and the other fish actually don't know what they are, once you put a hole through them, they just look like food to them. So we were concerned about some of the fish becoming poisoned, but apparently they don't really have any effect. So we have large mutton snappers, we have groupers, we have morays, even anemones. If you jab them, if you put a dead one in there, they eat them. So we have no recorded adverse effects. We haven't found any fish floating on the surface. So it's a good step in the right direction where not necessarily we're going to hand feed them the whole time, but people have noted a decrease in numbers, and this could be from actual predation from the larger fish. People always say that fish feeding is a very bad idea, and we're behind it as well. Within the marine reserve, fish feeding is actually illegal. But I mean, everyone can't deal with these lionfish. They can't, while leading a dive, bring a bucket, take the fish out. So, I mean, feeding the fish, yeah, it's not the best idea. It maybe gets them into a bad habit of associating humans with the fish. But I mean, there's a lot of fish out there and there's not that many people to feed them. So maybe you'll get 1 or 2 fish that do associate and may become maybe aggressive when they're not fed. But other than that, I think it's a good thing just trying to educate more fish.
This Nassau grouper was obviously an educated fish. He saw us and our spears early in our dive and followed us until he got his lionfish. He'd obviously done this before and spat the lionfish in and out until he got the angles right to avoid the spines and swam off with a bellyful. No question that lionfish is on his menu. So teaching the big predators underwater to eat lionfish is an important step too. There are only so many divers in the water diving a very limited ocean area, but reef predators live on the reef constantly and roam its full extent. They could be the key to bringing lionfish numbers down to a manageable level once they learn to eat them. But there is also another measure that is being taken on Roatan Island.
So what we need to do is encourage more people to actually eat the lionfish. So going around to the communities and educating them, saying they can actually catch these fish, and they're a very good source of food. So therefore that might take pressure off the other fish which they'd normally kill, whose juveniles are already feeling enough pressure from the lionfish eating. So the understanding, yeah, kill 1 lionfish, maybe you're saving 50 fish, you kill another one, then they're not reproducing, that kind of thing. So yeah, alleviate the pressure on the fish that are already targeted by the fishermen, and provide them with a good alternative.
Eating lionfish was not something I was expecting when I travelled to Roatan. I had always thought the fish was poisonous and best left alone. But as Nick pointed out, once you get rid of the small parts of the fish that are poisonous, the rest is really good to eat. Today's catch, all lined up in a row.
So there's a lot of problems with the lionfish. People think it's poisonous, people think the meat's poisonous, people think if they get stabbed by it they're going to die. So yeah, it does have poison. All these on top here, tips of those are poisonous. On this as well, you can see that one there?
Yeah.
That's poisonous.
Okay.
Then down by the anal, you've got one there.
Yeah.
Another one there.
Okay.
So they're the ones that are going to hurt you. There. This is just all for show, basically. That's just a corner fish.
Yeah.
Alright, so there's 2 different ways you can clean these. You can otherwise pretty much get scissors just cut off everything.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm just going to jump ahead and basically just clean it fully without cutting all the bits off, because obviously it takes a little bit longer.
Yeah.
I haven't really been stabbed while I'm preparing. I've been stabbed while hunting, not while I'm cleaning them.
Yeah.
So what I do, pretty much you got the hard part of the head there.
Yeah.
I pretty much just slice with a sharp knife, just cut around there.
Okay.
So then also, pretty much cut by the tail,
Yeah.
just cut a line there. And then all I do is just basically like a tuna, basically just run down the spine. The key is having a sharp knife. So this is the way I do it. You can do it the normal fillet way, but I feel that you lose a lot of meat.
Yeah.
This way I'm pretty much running down the spine, just slice my way up. What problems they do have is they've got these tiny little pen bones all along here. So when I found out when you normally fillet it, you get a lot of those bones in the meat, and you've got to pick them out, which is a big problem. So I basically just cut up, try and avoid the bones.
Yeah.
Cut to one piece. There you go. So
Yeah.
yeah, that's pretty much good. There's not even a bone there. I literally just skin it like a normal fish.
Yeah.
So you just basically cut in, just carve it like that. Run the knife along the skin at a 45-degree angle. Yet again, have a very sharp knife, it makes life a lot easier. There you go. Perfect fillet.
Sweet.
Lionfish, perfect for eating.
It's ready for
So that
cooking.
goes in there, that goes in the trash. Those people that are worried about getting stabbed, make it simpler. Chop these off. This you don't have to chop off because it's not poisonous, but it just gets in the way otherwise.
Yeah.
Alright, so that one. Remember the anal.
Now all the poison glands actually in the spines themselves.
Yeah. I've never had any problems eating. Some people saying you've got the part in there, but I've never run into any problems.
Yeah. Eaten plenty of these and you're still alive, so.
Yeah. That's those. That. Other side. You don't have to cut this one off because none of that's poisonous.
Okay.
So that's easy. So if anyone was worried about cleaning these fish, there you go. It's just a normal fish now. Nothing poisonous, nothing to worry about. What one of my friends has said is that usually the smaller fish, it's too much effort to clean, to gut, to fillet. So what he does, he makes fish cakes out of them. And when I say out of them, I mean out of all of them. So he pretty much, he cuts the head off, he guts them, he cuts these spines off, and then drops them in a blender. So, and then you put all the other stuff with it, all the fish cake needs. So I guess there's onions, garlic, pepper, egg, breadcrumbs maybe, and you just basically blend it all together, whack it on a baking tray. There you go, there's your fish cakes.
Fantastic. Have to give that a try sometime.
A little bit longer, I think.
Right guys, let's give this a whirl. Taste test time.
Wow. I guess the first one's actually going.
A little bit of lime. Verdict from Nick first of all. What's lionfish fish cakes like?
To be honest, it's the first time I've ever made a fish cake in my life. Chuck a bit of lime with it, bit of hot sauce. No matter what size of lionfish, you can eat it. It's great.
Ian, verdict. Lionfish fish cakes.
I must say I was afraid at first. One, Nick was in my kitchen using power tools, so yeah, I was kind of afraid. But the result is very, very good. Thanks, Nick. It's really tasty.
Right, verdict from me on lionfish fish cakes. They're actually really, really good. Add a little bit of lime, gives a little bit of a zing, and it's a little bit of texture, as you say. But all in all, really good meal. So yeah, you can catch the big lionfish, get your fillets out of them, little juvenile ones, which of course in the Caribbean you can catch because we don't want them growing to breeding age. Those, throw them in a blender, make fish cakes out of them. Tasty. So that's the story so far of lionfish around Roatan Island. It'll be interesting to come back here in a few years' time and see whether the lionfish invasion has been diminished by controlled spearfishing, educating the big reef predators, and putting lionfish on people's kitchen table. Whether these measures are having any effect, only time will tell.